BraveMaker Show is hosted by Tony Gapastione. Thanks for tuning in. It's showtime.
Well, hello, everyone. It is showtime. It is episode 277 of the BraveMaker Podcast and live show. My name is Tony Gapastione. I am a actor and a writer-director. I'm from the Bay Area, Redwood City, California, which has me heavy today. You might even hear it just at my energy level and the tone of my voice. I'm feeling a bunch of things for our creative community in Los Angeles, which is at this point on January 9th, 2 days into horrendous fires that have just devastated homes and schools and worship communities and buildings, and has been just displacing thousands of people. And so my heart is going out to so many of you who are down there. I extend my love and my support to you all, and I'm going to be announcing something later today for some emotional support Zooms that we'll offer for free for anybody who just wants to get on a Zoom and, as they say, hold some space, get some attention for whatever you're feeling, just to be quiet. I might read some poetry, read some scripture, do some praying, light a candle, literally all these things that might seem really woo-woo, but I think can be very helpful. So just be on the lookout for that. We'll be posting on our social media about when those Zooms will be available, and you can register and just jump on. Keep your camera off or turn your camera on, but we'll say more about that. So as I go into this episode of podcast goals and talking about setting and achieving goals, I just want you to know 9 days into the new year, this is a huge setback. It feels like this was not the happy new year survive till 2025 we in the entertainment industry had hoped for. So I'm just cognizant of that, and my mind is like so scared. I don't even live in LA. I go to LA, at least monthly. And I love it so much, and I love all you all down there so much. I've been trying to reach out to as many of you as I can. Hope you are safe and finding places to keep your pets and get food and shelter. But I want to be very sensitive because there's this is life and death for so many people. Also financial stability, right? We looked forward to the beginning of January because it was a new slate. People were excited for new castings to be coming out, to book jobs, to get hired, to be writing, directing, producing work, television and film and commercials. We have Sundance coming up in a couple of weeks, and I can't help but think about all of the ways that these things are impacted. So again, wanting to be sensitive as we talk about achieving goals this year. You might need to not be listening to this right now. You might need to be meditating or doing some kind of physical activity, or just taking care of yourself. Or maybe this is what you need. You need a little bit of a focus to take your mind off of things. I know, again, I'm not even in LA right now, right? But I couldn't sleep very well. I was so focused on the news, watching people evacuating, checking in with people, especially feeling for all the pets. My heart, the only thing I had to look away at was pets showing up to these shelters harmed and burned and full of ash. It's just heartbreaking. So heavy way to start this podcast and this live today, but my heart goes out to you. If I can do anything, reach out to me if you want to chat. Again, I will be putting out some Zoom emotional support Zooms, we'll call them, to help give you some space to think and to reflect. If there's anything that we can do, check out our Instagram at BraveMaker.org for those announcements. Okay, and I'm at Tony Gapastione on all the socials. So today, just wanted to do just some simple chatting around goals. Again, wanting to be so sensitive. 9 days in, I was ramped up. I'm taking 2 classes this month, 2 screenwriting classes with 2 different organizations, because I want to better myself. I want to achieve my goals. And this might seem, again, overwhelming and burdensome for some who are just like, I need to just figure out how I'm going to get back to my house, or if I even have a house or an apartment to go back to. So I know this is huge. I'm supposed to be in LA on Thursday, January 16th for an event. We were going to have a BraveMaker drop-in, and that BraveMaker drop-in at Good People in Santa Monica is still happening. So if you are in LA and you just need a hug, want to come, I also was going to say, if anybody wants to donate money to BraveMaker, I would love to buy coffees and breakfast for people at that BraveMaker drop-in. So let me know. You can Venmo me some money, and I'll cover people's food in LA on January 16th if we can get the funds to do that. Just hit me up in some way. Usually, people, if we have about 10, or we had, I don't know, almost 20 some people that came last time. If you think about $20 per person, that's about, what is it, $400? So if anybody wants to donate $400, I'll cover everybody's meal for the day. Okay. All right. Well, here's, again, maybe listen to this later in January or beginning of February, but here's some thoughts I have. I'm going to share some clips today, some motivating clips from our mastermind, which is our membership thing we do on Mondays. And, maybe you are displaced. If you are displaced in LA, I'll tell you this, I'll give you a free session on January 16th. Reach out to me. We have a Oscar-winning sound designer who's going to talk about designing sound for films like Lord of the Rings, Star Trek. He just did a film called, hi, Belgica, I see you in the comments. He did a film called Los Frikis, which is really great, that I just got to see a few weeks ago. So Michael Semenik will be on our mastermind. It's a private membership group that we do to support filmmakers and help professionally develop them. If you are displaced and you are in LA, hit me up, message me. I'll give you a free one to come and sit with us. But I'm going to share a couple other clips from our mastermind today that have been helpful for me. And here's kind of like, I always like to say high level. When I look at my life, when I look at like things I need to do to achieve the creative goals that I have, the creative goals are intentionally to be making projects, right? Creative goals are also, for me as a filmmaker and founder of a nonprofit, I'm raising a lot of money. I'm putting on a film festival. So those things don't happen without a lot of planning. So the number one thing, if you want to set and achieve creative goals, they have to be very specific goals. You have to be able to measure them. You have to be able to put them on paper, get them in your calendar, and plan them. This is some of the interesting, data around film and filmmaking, because if you have made a film out there, a feature film, or even a short film or a web series or whatever, you can't just decide a Friday that you're going to be making a film on a Sunday. Some people do, and it can happen. I believe that kind of spontaneity can happen, but it takes weeks and months. That's why there's this whole term called pre-production, which leads you into production, right? So a pre-production, you need sometimes months to do if you're doing a feature film, because that includes the location scouting, that includes the casting, that includes the hiring of cast, auditioning and getting crew, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to make a feature film in 2025, well, in some ways that should have started last year in 2024. Don't get discouraged because there's a lot of months left in 2025. So you got to find yourself going, all right, it's January of 2025. If I want to make a feature film, at the least 6 months of preparation. Could it happen less? Yeah, totally. Could it happen in 3, 4? Yeah, totally. Depending on what kind of film you're trying to make. I'm going to be making an improv kind of scriptment type feature in the end of May, beginning of June. I've already started that. So that's 6 months from now. I have another feature that is going to be in production in, we'll say March, was hopefully in the February we'll start, but March. And we've been working on this thing for 10 years, but our team is actively budgeting and scheduling things right now. Auditions have been happening through self-tapes and stuff like that, but it has to be planned. So if you are a filmmaker who's been saying you want to make a film, or if you're creative of any type, you want to write a book, you want to launch a music album, okay? And if it's not actively in your calendar, like if I can't see it in my my iCal, my Google Calendar, or if it's not on my paper calendar, that is not going to happen. That's the challenge with us as creative people. We can definitely spend too much time, thinking and blue skying, as we say, and not doing. And anytime I hear someone say that they're going to make a film, or sometimes people will say, I just heard someone at our meetup say they wanted to make 12 films this year. I'm like, well, that's one a month. Cool. That's a very high and lofty goal. I think it can happen, but that's going to take a hell of a lot of planning. And it's okay. My goal is to make 4 short films this year. And I already have that already built in because I have a whole program where we make short films with actors. So I know I'm going to be able to achieve it because I have the dates already laid out on my calendar. I'm doing planning for the film that we're doing in March with our academy. I just was booking our director from LA. I'm doing getting the editor and our assistant camera and team already in place now. And that has to go into my calendar. So if you want to achieve goals in 2025 or any year, I really think it takes a long-term 12-month, 365-day view of your life and time. I know that my life looks like, because I have a family, I have another job, I have a lot of things. It looks like a lot of moving parts. And those parts, sometimes, if I don't be intentional about it, will squeeze out the creative things to be really practical. That's why I think we have to be practical about our creative goals. So if you are listening to this, watching this, whatever, do you have something planned in July? Well, hopefully it's attending our BraveMaker Film Festival, July 10th through the 13th. But I really think you need to be aware of what your months look like. Much like this, if you are a filmmaker or a movie lover, you have probably heard of how studios have a slate of movies. They know what movies are going to be coming out in 2026 and 2027. They know that already. Or at least they're planning that. Can things change because of friggin' fires and pandemics and strikes? Yes. But we have to be intentional if we want to achieve our creative goals. So I know I'm doing a short film in March. I know I'm doing a short film in May. I know I'm doing a feature film in March. I'm doing a feature film in June. I'm doing a film festival in July, and I'm planning for another huge project in the fall. I'm doing a gala fundraiser thing happening. It's on the calendar right now. Those things are on the calendar. I'm actively getting people together. I'm doing a party at Sundance Film Festival. I have a link, where I'm selling tickets. There's all these things that have to happen. You almost have to look at your life, if you're a creative person, like you're an event planner. You have to learn how to be an event planner. Maybe you need to watch a movie starring Jennifer Lopez called The Wedding Planner and see the kind of things that it takes in order to bring something to life. You really got to look at your life like that. You got to think of yourself as a business, as a company. A lot of preparation is what it's going to take. So that's my simple, high level vision for helping and encouraging you to set and achieve goals. You probably heard of SMART goals. They have to be very specific and measurable. Don't say things like, I want to be a better filmmaker, or I want to be a kinder person. Well, if you want to be a better filmmaker, then you need to be taking classes or need to be practicing more and making more things. That's why this month, January 2025, I'm going to do 2 classes. One of them was going to help me to write my next pilot, my next TV show. The other class is helping me get my materials ready so I could submit myself for representation. And you better know I'm investing in myself. Both of these things cost money. Both of these things cost me, divided between the two, almost $1,000. So one was like $420, and the other was, I think, exactly $395, something like that. So near $1,000. That's a lot of money to pay. But I'm investing in myself because it's worth it. Because almost like going to school with a deadline and homework, those are some of the things I have put upon myself. So I have to turn things in. I have to have meetings, which even today, 2 meetings were canceled because these are people who are meeting with me in LA for consultations and things. So it's definitely having an impact. Again, these fires, my heart and my prayers are going out to you all. Sometimes you do have to be flexible, right, with your goals. I would be lying if I didn't say I wasn't super discouraged. Right? And who wouldn't be discouraged by these fires? Because with the impact upon humans and animals alike, now it's displacing people. It's also going to be putting a pause on work. People aren't going to be able to work. People's productions are being pushed off. I know 2 people who were on a feature starting 2 days ago, and their feature shut down. So many things are impacted. So we have to, again, move flexibly when we go after our goals, but it really does take a lot of remembering to be, smart with our goals, specific and measurable. You need accountability Who's helping you? That's why I started the creative mastermind that we do on Mondays at 10 a.m. Pacific time, because I wanted people. Right now, we have, I think, 13 people who are a part of our Monday Zooms. Every single week we meet. We're talking about our projects. They're sharing goals. We have professional, entertainment leaders coming in to talk about their work and to answer questions and to give us insight into how we can do better and meet our goals in a more effective and realistic way. And it's just awesome. And let me tell you this, I am not shying away anymore. I'm trying not to do any more things that are free. Like, I will be doing those free emotional support groups. But someone said to me, when you give things away for free, people don't value it. And I notice this when we do free events, sometimes everyone's like, some people like get 10 tickets to a free screening or a free meetup, and then they don't even show up, which is going to be kind of frustrating and disheartening. But charging $20, it puts people in a more invested state. So when I started doing the BraveMaker masterminds, I wanted people to take it seriously. We started, for 7 months doing $99 a month. And I thought, oh, that's kind of expensive for $100 a month. But then I started realizing, no, I paid someone $250 for 1 hour of their time for a consult one time. $250 for 1 hour. Was that a lot of money? Yeah. But that person's time was worth it. And I got a lot out of it. I just told you I'm doing 2 classes this month that are near 400 some bucks each. We pay for things we value, and we value things that we pay for. So now our BraveMaker Mastermind is $125 a month, and it's still a deal. I'm trying to make it affordable. It's also a way we can raise funds for our BraveMaker Film Festival and to keep our lights on, pay our rent, insurance, and all the things. $125 a month. If you divide that, it's like basically $30 a week ish. Sometimes there's 5 weeks in a month and it's $25. But not only do you get those Zooms, we give free mixers the first Thursday of every month. You get a meetup. You get 50% off all our film festival and film events. That's huge. 20% off our classes. And then sometimes exclusive screenings to movies. Like we sent our academy, our membership team free tickets to go see this movie called Los Frikis, which is, again, awesome perks. So the money, it's so worth it. And comparatively to other things, we're given a deal. So I'm going to share some things right now because I think it's so meaningful and important, the work that we're doing. I'm going to share some things where you get to have little clips from some of our guests to inspire you to go after your creative goals. So I'm going to share a clip from our good friend, Ken Whittingham, who is a TV director and also one of our board members that I absolutely love, that I met at Sundance. By the way, if you're going to Sundance, we do have a party happening on January 25th, Saturday. Belgica Rodriguez is saying, I am one of the BraveMaker Mastermind members, and she loves it. So thank you, Belgica. And Belgica is also one of the co-hosts we have on here monthly. So I'm going to share this clip with Ken Whittingham because he talks about directing. And I know there are many of you out there who want to be directors or who are planning on shooting a film and being a director this year, 2025. So Ken talks about just being prepared and working with actors and how you have to be able to also be flexible too. And when you deal with pushback or questions from actors as a director, make sure you're doing everything you can showing up on set to be ready. All right, I hope this helps you achieve your goals. This is just one of 2 clips that I'm going to share today for the live show and podcast. So take a listen or take a watch and enjoy Ken Whittingham.
Pick up and have a cup of coffee, write something down. If they're not doing something, they can excuse themselves out of the scene and come back into the scene with something they went and did, or you hear a bathroom flush or whatever, whatever I can do to make it funny, and to make it real and make it comfortable. So I've always thought out everything, and so when an actor sees that you're ready and you're prepped, it's just a little easier, and because you almost have to be almost like a kind of bulldoze. But but I'm not saying I'm always right, because they will come out with something, sure, and say, well, what if I did this? I'm like, that's great. Let's try that.
Yeah.
So you just have to be open, because again, I have so much respect for actors and their motivation and their, when they're not feeling something, I'll give them that sometimes.
I like that, Ken, because all the directors on the Zoom, or if you're watching on the replay, just tuck that away to be able to say to your actors even ahead of time, hey, if you have an idea, here's how you can bring it or present it to me or to the showrunner, by saying at the appropriate time, what if we tried? Just those two words, what if, are great, because some people could get real defensive, by saying, I don't like this, or this is not working for me. But to be able to say as an actor and advocate for yourself, what if we tried this, or what if I said that? I think it's great. And they might not be into it, or they might not be allowed to, because scripts sometimes have to be locked, right, Ken? So, but I
Right.
think that's really great hearing you say that as a director. And then actors, put that in your tool belt too, being able to ask the director, if it's appropriate, could I try something different? And when would be the
Right.
opportunity to do that? I like that.
Right. And then you have the other end when you have, I did a show with Jamie Foxx, and his manager told me right away, say, whatever you do, don't tell Jamie no. It's just, whatever you do. And I was like, wow, that's, but so I practiced it. I was like, okay, let's try it. If you don't have to use it,
Right. That's a great, yes.
Yeah.
That also
And
reminds me of something someone else said, like, you can say no in a different way without saying no, right? You could say, yeah, let's try it, but not intend to use it. That's great.
Right. But actors are very smart. I'm not saying, of course everybody's smart, but actors they know that trick. They're like, oh, let's try it. And they know the way you say it, like, I'm not going to use it, but we could try it, or you go the other way. You say, if they say, I don't want to do that, you can say, well, let's just give me one. They go, well, that's the one you're going to use.
Sure. Yes.
So you just have to, it just has to make sense. And so I really think like an actor, when I'm in tone the week before we actually do it, I'm talking to the writers. I'm like saying, okay, is this right? Is this motivate? Can we get a better joke, or can we get a better, line here? Because I don't want to have to sell this, because it doesn't make sense to me. And I'm thinking like an actor, like, this has to make sense to me. When I explain it to them, I don't want to be like, I don't know why they wrote that, because directors would sell the writers down the line in a minute. They'll run over what is it? They'll throw them under the bus. I don't know why they wrote that stupid line. Or what I will do, because I'm a bit of a writer. I'm not going to say I'm a great writer, but I do know jokes, and so I'll have I'll have a pocket full of jokes myself, as alternates, you know. Um, and what we would do a lot of times on Parks and Recreation and The Office, what we would do is we do the scripted version of the show, and then we'd have what was called alts, and then what was called candy bag. And then the candy bag was like, if we have time to do this other line, let's do this one. So we would do two or three versions of different jokes, and so and in that kind of show, since it was a mockumentary and we were shooting two cameras at the same time, we had plenty of time. Like we would do, typically in a show you would do you would do about 5 or 6 pages a day, but on The Office we would do 10 to 12 pages a day. So subsequently, the scripts would be 16 minutes long. When you get into editing, because we're trying some things and stuff. So it was really hard to edit those shows.
Well, that's a little clip from Ken Whittingham. How awesome to hear him talk about things like The Office and Parks and Rec and Jamie Foxx, but just thinking about how to be intentional with your actors when you're directing. I think a lot of this for me, when I think about, preparing, I want to be on set, this year. I had a friend of mine say he was on set 32 days last year filming things. I was like, wow, 32 days didn't seem like a lot, really. But he's like, no, it's so much when you think about how many days you're on set, with how many days you're in prep for filming that project, but then how much you are on set for the post-production and the editing of that. I'm thinking, like, in my own mind, I've never thought about planning how many days I want to be on set. I just know of how many projects I want to be doing. But if you're doing 4 short films in a year, and each of those short films, are 3 days, that's only 12 days of being on set, 4 times 3, 12, right? So it really is something to think about with you making your goals and being intentional. If you want to get something accomplished, you got to be prepared for it. If you're someone who's waiting around for that film to be dropped in your lap, you're going to wait a long time. You got to write it. Sometimes you got to produce it. Sometimes you got to direct it, or else find those people and be intentional to ask your creative friends, your creative crew. By the way, if you're trying to cast something in 2025, I want to encourage you to go to BraveMaker Crew, our Instagram page, BraveMaker Crew, and see we have like 30 some actors on there who are Bay Area, LA based, who you can cast. Check out BraveMaker Crew. And if you are a BraveMaker actor, you've been in one of our projects, or you are in our academy, this is your invitation. I give this out a lot. I still have actors who haven't got their things up there yet. I'm like, come on, there's a director casting something in the Bay right now that I just directed to that page yesterday. So BraveMaker actors, academy people. And what does it mean if you're a BraveMaker actor? You had to be in one of our films, so we can attest to your character and your talent, that you've been behind a camera of a BraveMaker project, or you're in our BraveMaker Academy. You're automatically included in that page. Okay, I want to share one more clip, and this is from a really cool guy named Joel Harlow. Joel is a makeup artist, and he's a creature designer. Right now, or just recently, I think the show ended, called Evil on CBS. It's currently on Netflix. He did all the creature designs for that, but he's been on Pirates of the Caribbean. He's done so many cool films and television. He just did recently the character of Krampus in Red One. So, and he's also an Oscar winner for Star Trek. So check this out. This is Joel Harlow, and these are the type of caliber of people that are on our BraveMaker Mastermind. I'd really encourage you, if you have not check this out, go to bravemaker.com/membership, and you could see what the mastermind is all about, and join us every week on a Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific or 1 p.m. Central. It'll change you. You'll find cool collaborative people that might help move your goals forward. So check out Joel Harlow here in this clip. Our guest, Joel Harlow, today. So awesome to have. I feel like I need to say Academy Award winning Joel Harlow, because I always see that when people win those awards, you always have to kind of say that with their name. But Joel, so glad that you're here today. I have, we talked a little bit, before we started this, but I've done a ton of research and listened to all of these interviews with you. And I have to tell myself that the questions that I want to ask, I've already heard you talk about it in so many other generous podcasts that you've done, but everybody here might not know. So I want you to start. You've been doing this work since you were a kid, making and writing and creating creatures. There's so many cool stories of all the different projects you have done. Anyone, Pirates of the Caribbean, Bootstrap Bill, that amazing starfish on, his face. I mean, you've done, so it's cool. And so many of us have recreated those iconic images as Halloween costumes. So introduce yourself, talk about how you got into this amazing work that you do.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. Yeah, hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Joel Harlow. I am a makeup designer, creature creator by trade. That's my day job. And then, sort of my passion job, aside from makeup, is creating my own films, my own short films. And I've been doing that for about the past 5 years. And certainly those are very makeup effects heavy, but why wouldn't they be? Yeah, there you go. What is that? My Instagram?
Yeah, this is your Instagram, your company, Morphology.
That's me. Actually, that's me right there. Isn't it?
We are. I mean, this is kind of a spoiler, but we are very excited because Joel has submitted a short film to the BraveMaker Film Fest, y'all. So, if schedules align, he might be with us in July, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah, I'm hoping that that is indeed the case. But yeah, I mean, getting back to your question, I've been doing this since I was a kid, since I first saw, and I don't even know how old I was. I first saw King Kong, the original Willis O'Brien King Kong, stop motion version. And I knew at that point that I wanted to make characters and bring those characters to life. So at the time, as I got a little older, got out of high school, was looking for a place to go to college. I ended up going to college in New York at the School of Visual Arts. There were no makeup classes. I mean, now they're everywhere. But at the time there weren't. I managed to find one weekend course in Times Square. So I took that. It was like 6 weekends. Kind of gave you the basics on how to, do a sculpture, make a mold, cast, your piece out of the mold and glue it on. But from there, I found that the biggest thrill for me was sculpting a character, designing a character, thinking it up, designing it, sculpting it, going through all the lab work, and then applying it to somebody and seeing that character come to life. I mean, when that, it's the Frankenstein moment, right? It's like when you build your monster in your lab and then you finally get to see it, take its first breath.
It's alive. It's alive.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's this, this thing that, previously only existed in your head. I mean, that's a thrilling moment. And then, which ties into these short films. It's like when when you have an idea that only exists in your head and you feel like it needs to be expressed, you need to see it in the world. You'll move mountains to do that. And, that's what, hey, there's a Bootstrap Bill right there. Yeah. So that's what I did. That's why I do these things, is because I want to see them, and if people, gravitate towards them and enjoy them, that's all the better. And certainly I want that. But these films that I'm doing don't exist. And I know if I was, if I had found them, if I had stumbled upon them, I would be, intrigued by them and I would want to watch them. So hopefully there's an audience out there for them.
Oh my gosh. I think that's safe to say. There's definitely an audience.
All right. Well, that's a clip from Joel Harlow, Oscar-winning makeup effects designer and artist. These are the type of people we're bringing on to our podcast. We just had Mike Blizzard, who produced Hitman with Glenn Powell, and he's producing Merrily We Roll Along with Ben Platt and Beanie Feldstein, and he's got this other one called Blue Moon with Margaret Qualley and Ethan Hawke. He was actually in the studio. We posted a clip of him on our Instagram, where, in fact, I need to play that because I'll end with this. So did you just hear what Joel said? He had this in his mind. You all have something in your mind out there. We all do. We want a story to be told. It needs to be told. We have a song. Some of you want to start a podcast. Some of you want to create an event or design a graphic, novel. What are you waiting for? It's time. It's time. And maybe you're in LA right now and you have no energy and you're exhausted and you're tired because of the fires. I'm hugging you virtually. I want to, again, support you. So be on the lookout for these emotional support Zooms we want to do. I hope I'm going to be there next week to host a drop-in and buy you some coffee. But maybe the energy and time you have when you have it could be spent looking at your calendar and going, all right, when is this thing that I have in my head going to be able to come out, and how can I put it out there in the world right now? Finally, let me just show you this, or share with you if you're listening on the podcast, this clip from Mike Blizzard, who I said is this really influential producer, but he talked about short films. And this is such a true piece of wisdom and advice that you have to consider if you're making a short film this year. Who is your audience? Is your audience meant to be a film festival audience? Well, then you got to think about the length, because long shorts have a very challenging time being programmed. Okay, so check this out from Mike Blizzard. Here it is. Might take me a second to get the audio on, but here we go.
A lot better chance with an 8-minute short. another great thing that I learned from a woman I worked with who used to work for South by Southwest for a while is you also are graded on somewhat of a curve with your short, in that the longer your short is, the better it has to be to have any chance. As you can imagine, when they put these shorts programs together, there can be only one longish short in there. And I would say something that's 15 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
You can only have one of those per program. So say that South by Southwest has 4 shorts programs. That means for a film that long, you have to be one of the top 4 films of that length in the world at that moment in time to get into that festival. You're going to have a whole lot better chance with an 8-minute short that they can plug into any one of those 4 programs, and it's not messing everything else up. I think they have some standard, at least at that time when she worked there, that like for every minute over 12 minutes, or maybe it was even 10, that has to be twice as good. Like, so for each minute, so by the time you get to something the 15 minutes or over, you have to be just excellent to ever have a chance of getting programmed. And with shorts, that's how your film is going to get seen, is by getting programmed by festivals, you know. So it's really important. If you can make it in 9 minutes and 50 seconds, you're going to have a lot better chance than if it's 12 minutes and 10 seconds. I mean, a much, much better chance.
Mike, I'm going to take this clip and put it on our social media for BraveMaker Film Fest. It's so true. And here's the other thing too, I would say. If you feel like your short needs to be 15 minutes or 20 minutes, go for it, do it. But also know it's going to limit your chances. And that's okay too. Like, I make a lot of long shorts. I just put them on our YouTube channel. I don't submit them to the film festivals because I know it's not going to benefit me to wait to hear back from all these film festivals, most likely getting rejections because of the length. I want it put out in the world. So you got to figure out what's the right audience for your short. And I think you are hitting it on the head. Shorts are amazing for film festivals. I love a 5 or 6 minute short film. Oh my gosh. And you can program that so many times. You might even get to screen 3 or 4 times at a film festival because it's so short. So that's really great wisdom. Mike, thank you. All right. That's Mike Blizzard, and he is a very great producer who's doing a lot of work you probably have seen because he always works with, you ready for this? Director Richard Linklater. Well, my friends, my BraveMaker, my creative community, I hope 9 days in, this is somewhat of a inspiration in some way to keep going. I know, I'm not even in LA, but I feel so many things for all of you who are going through so many things. Our industry, our work, our hopes and dreams, all these things are wrapped up, and I'm trying to find a way to not be so discouraged because this, is impacting, so many people, so many high level things, that trickle down to the individuals and to organizations and to film festivals and stuff. So it's a wild time. As I was showing that clip, a message that an event I'm going to next week just got canceled and all. And it is just brace. How much can you take? Pandemic, multiple strikes, fires, constriction, and things happening. It's a wild time. So take care of yourself. Please be aware of your mental health. I am very dialed in to the thoughts and the fears of life and how we don't feel significance, or we feel so afraid and so hopeless. So if that is you today, please reach out. Please get help. Please let someone know. I feel even in my own life, you see this in my work. I deal a lot with depression and suicide ideation because I have lost people to such things. So I'm very concerned about that. If that is you, please let someone know. Let me know. Let a professional know. Call the suicide line. We need you here. Okay, we need you here. You might not have anything left to your name, house, material possessions, jobs, but we need you here, and we can work things out. It doesn't seem like it's going to potentially work out, but we can make it. Okay, please stay. All right, brave stories change the world, we say, and you are the story. And I really, really, truly hope that you all believe it. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next time we do the show.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at BraveMaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word BraveMaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.